they intend to take a decision on the refarming issue prior to the start of the auction.
I think there's a ample scope for the government and the operators deciding what is a mutually beneficial arrangement where the government wins, the consumer wins, and the industry wins, and take this forward. All the issues which are being raised by the interested players, they are being appropriately addressed.
Mobile tariffs increase and will airfares go down? Critical policy decisions taken this week in the telecom and aviation space can impact you, the consumer. Hello and welcome. You're with We Mean Business. I'm Shweta Rajpal Kohli. First up, we're going to discuss the crucial decisions in the telecom space. The government's attempt at providing a level playing field for telecom players is now leading to perhaps more pain and uncertainty for the existing telecom majors. The Ministers' panel on telecom failed to take a final view on the refarming issue or the reallocation of spectrum, but the issue of one-time fee is now more or less settled. On the show today, we'll discuss the impact of these policy issues, especially on the mobile user, and whether mobile tariffs are now headed north. Let me introduce our guests on the show. With me here in the Delhi studio, Mrityunjay Kapoor, Country Managing Director of ProtivitiConsultingPrivateLimited, S.C. Khanna, former Secretary General of OSPI, Mr. Romil Shetty, Partner and Head of Telecom in KPMG, joins us from Bangalore, and our in-house telecom expert, Arijit Banerjee, also here with us. Let me first go across to Arijit to get a sense of some of those crucial decisions taken and the ones that were not taken in today's empowered group of ministers.
Shweta, if you look at it, the big issue of one-time fee being settled in the sense that the EGM finally deciding on what will be now sent to the cabinet. What they have decided is that all spectrum beyond 4.4 megahertz will be charged. There will be a one-time fee on it. It will be prospective, and the fee will be calculated based on the auction proceeds or whatever is derived. The price is derived through the auction process. This will become applicable after the auction. On the other hand, because of the Attorney General's view that that this may be legally not tenable, and also the fact that in 2008 a decision was taken by the government to charge for spectrum beyond 6.2, and why it is not being done. So what has been done is by the EGM is they have said that for all those players who held spectrum beyond 6.2 megahertz from 2008, so from 2008 to 2012, that is till the time of the auction, for those 4 years on a pro rata basis, they will be paying a one-time fee on the spectrum they hold beyond 6.2 megahertz, and the value for this will be calculated on the 2001 prices, which was about 1651 crore rupees for a pan-India spectrum, and this will be indexed to the SBI PLR to arrive at the value. Our sources in DoT tell us that the total value could come to about 3,000 crore rupees additionally.
Okay.
Yes, for all these players. There are about 54 licensees. Remember, licensees means licenses per circle, so the companies would be much lesser. They would be companies like Bharti, Vodafone, Idea, BSNL, and probably MTNL also. So these companies will have to pay an additional about 3,000 crore rupees for this time period.
Arijit, very quickly, the one-time fee issue has been a very, very controversial one, with the sharp positions being held on by various people, whether it is top policy makers taking those decisions or the telecom space. Today's decision, how does it really impact the telecom industry?
See, now there is going to be a raging debate on why these people are being made to pay beyond 6.2 megahertz from this particular period of time, that is this retrospective, while the government in principle has decided to charge beyond 4.4. So this controversy is definitely going to rise up. Apart from that, there is a big issue of the outgo. 27,000 crores was already something which was going out of the industry. Now you have 3,000 crores more. So that is 30,000 crores, and we still haven't reached the refarming issue. That's going to be
so hold your thoughts on refarming, because we'll come to that. Yes. Let's get one-time fee over and done with. Like it or not, telecom players have to pay.
If you see my earlier program, in your channel only, I had said that this Attorney General's view to charge from the month of July 2008 onwards has to be done. There is no EGM cannot change it, because, and I give credit to the Attorney General that he stuck to his guns. He was not forced come under the influence of the government. So we need such people who stick to their guns, right?
Mrityunjay, your assessment of how the telecom industry is really perceiving this issue.
See, I think it's going to be an impact on the overall profitability of the industry as a whole.
Right.
And of course, now it's pretty much a settled issue. So you have, the government, the
debate
legal,
is over,
the debate is over. So they have to deal with it. And I think that now going forward, the bigger issue is of refarming and how that's going to impact the overall numbers as we go on.
But to get a sense from you of the kind of controversy we've seen around one-time fee, of course, it's very natural for the telecom players to go ahead and lobby. Nobody likes to pay extra money, and especially if it's something you weren't prepared to pay. But looking at it now, do you see the industry digesting it, moving forward? You're saying it will impact profitability. How much?
See, I think there are numbers floating around. So 30,000 crores is obviously a number that already exists.
Right.
And, it will definitely have an impact on the profitability of those organizations. The other thing is that these companies have been living with the idea that, or they had gone through the phase where it was subscriber linked license or spectrum that was granted to them. So digesting it will be inevitable, but it's going to be difficult, and it's from a future perspective.
Is it a good policy move?
I think it's a good policy move. Purely, it just brings it brings everything in perspective. It makes it a little more transparent, and of course, it's something that's already been decided beyond a point. So
but the point that I'm making here, and I'll come to you, Mr. Khanna, before I go to Mr. Shetty also, is that let's talk big picture now. These are times when we're going to see big telecom decisions being taken, which will perhaps be sort of written in stone for a very long time. Are we seeing India emerging towards a situation where at least big picture policy issues on telecom are now getting clarified? They are now sort of being rewritten, and this is really a transformation of the industry?
Yeah, no, I think absolutely. I think there is a lot of clarity. We've gone through a whole lot of scams, a lot of issues, litigations, and this is one step moving towards clarity. Clarity obviously brings in pain, but it's better to go through that pain for a few years and then have something which is clean, which is transparent, and for everybody to see.
That's a very refreshing view, in fact, coming when we've only heard the telecom sector, Arijit, complaining about it.
Part of the issue has been settled, that they pay the spectrum fee for using it above 6.2. But part of the recommendation of the Attorney General is not settled. He says that everybody will get spectrum free up to 6.2, not 4.2.
That's something I think is not going to happen, because the EGM has now decided on pricing above 4.4 megahertz. So it may not be as big a relief for many companies who were actually thinking that if
the Attorney General's view will be taken into consideration. Okay, Mr. Romil Shetty, before we move on to the refarming issue, we're of course talking about the overall impact with regard to mobile tariffs, and of course we will discuss refarming also, but your sense of whether mobile tariffs are headed north, because that's the one thing that the consumer is really interested in. That's the one thing that the consumer wants to know. They really don't want to get into the nitty-gritties of the one-time fee. At what level is it being charged? Is it retrospective? Is it prospective? I want to know, will I have to pay more when that mobile bill comes at my doorstep?
See, Shweta, I think the tariffs actually have been going up for some time. Forget the one-time fee, forget everything else. It has actually been going up north. It's been done in a not in a large fashion, but it has been going on across circles, across prepaid first, then slowly across postpaid. So with this kind of levy, obviously 30,000 crores, and if you look at the performance of telcos, quarter on quarter, their revenues have, for example, their EBITDA margins have fallen, and it's not just one quarter, but probably about 7 to 8 quarters at a stretch. Different telcos are going through. Their balance sheets are highly leveraged, right? There's a lot of debt sitting in the balance sheet today. Probably more than 2 lakh crores are sitting on the balance sheets. So debt servicing is becoming difficult. So this has to translate somewhere into some price increase. So the price increase was happening before this. Now with this, obviously it will get loaded onto consumers. So I don't think so there's any two ways about that.
Would you like to put a quantum to it, Romil? Would you like to put a quantum to it? Because that's really been debatable as well.
Yeah, it's probably a bit difficult to sort of put the quantum across, but just remember, we're probably our tariffs are some of the cheapest in the world. You can compare to any country, and we are probably among the lowest. So even if you do increase by 25-30%, it doesn't mean that the consumer suddenly will get a huge a bill. I mean, it's basically at the end of the day translates into some paise. It will translate into 15-20 paise. But this one obviously is not small sums of money. So I mean, while I can't put a number to it, but there'll definitely be something which is much more than what today you're actually paying.
So maybe, if I look at the Cellular Operators Association and the numbers they put out for refarming, and some of the numbers were 64 paise, that's the increase that they expect with all the refarming happening. And if you take some proportion out of that, and you look at 30,000 crore in the overall light, so maybe 15-20 paise
is the kind of figure.
Yeah, is the kind of figure, and maybe it doesn't happen immediately.
Okay.
So it's not something that we see.
Let's now move on and discuss the larger issue, refarming, where it was largely expected that the ministers panel would take a final decision. Arijit, do we have any sense from our sources what really went on and why the consensus couldn't be emerged?
Actually, Shraddha, what we're hearing is there were so many issues actually which were to be taken up by the empowered group of ministers, and the biggest contentious issue.
Explain refarming to our viewers, because we often discuss this telecom jargon, but for an average viewer, just explain what refarming is.
Refarming is simply a process by which at the moment, I'll just talk about what the government is planning. They are planning to take spectrum in the 900 megahertz band because the government considers it to be more efficient spectrum. As you move down the spectrum band, actually the spectrum tends to be more efficient. So a 900 megahertz spectrum is more efficient than 1800 megahertz, which means you can, its propagation qualities are better, which means you can have more subscribers, you need lesser towers. So it's basically a more efficient medium. Therefore, the government wants to refarm the spectrum, because when the licenses were opened up, when people like Bharti got their Delhi license, in the early days, 900 megahertz was the band in which all the spectrum which was allocated to all the operators. So the older players tend to have more of the 900 megahertz band with them. So the government is now looking to take it out from them, put it up for auction, and the auction process will of course be will be actually twice the price. That is what had been recommended by TRAI. The existing operators, of course, will have the option. This only will happen when their licenses come up for renewal. So it's not as if it's happening today. It will happen over a period of time. November 2014 is the time when the first license comes up for renewal. The auction will happen 18 to 24 months before the renewal, which is, if you look at the time frame, is this December to May. So this spectrum will be taken out. They will have to bid for this spectrum. If they want this spectrum, they will have to go through the bid process and keep this